Give me a moment. Okay, and you can now start, John.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Thursday. Thank you for being with me today. Tomorrow, we do have Claudia Diaz Hernandez, who will be going over the iridescent, luminescent, interference, pearlescent colors and duochromes. She has a video that's going to be put up that you can watch. If it's not already put up, it will be put up. Claudia does wonderful things using the luminescent colors to do eyes, to do skin, and can answer many of the questions that you may have or may have wanted to ask insofar as the luminescent colors. Today, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put this on a bigger screen so I can see you on, so now I can see you on Zoom, and I can see you on Facebook as well. I'm going to continue going over the colors. And what I did today is I brought neutral tint, Payne's gray, graphite, because some of you were talking about graphite, and I wanted to show you. Hello, Agnes. Hello, Mark. I wanted to show you kind of what it looked like. Today, I'm going to be looking at the warmest colors, and what I've done is I've tried to put them in order from the brightest down. They might slightly be out of order now, but you can have, I'm going to put this down so you can see it. You can have very bright colors, or you can have very warm colors that can be very bright. For example, buff titanium at 88, or you can have very warm colors that are cool. For example, we have Pompeii red at 65, 60, 50 is about gray. So they don't all have to be, the warmest colors aren't all necessarily the brightest colors. They can have a range from about 50, which is gray, all the way up to in the 90s. So remember when I go over the C-Lab colors, this is a photospectrophotometer looking at the color. How you see color may be different. So how humans see color is different than how the machine sees color. It just wants to see how much light is coming back, which is not necessarily the way that we interpret colors. Okay. So Agnes, good to see you. Latiza, hello, George. So George is with us today. Raffaele is with us today. They both did presentations 2 to a couple of weeks ago. Phenomenal artists and love to answer questions. Hello, Stephanie. Hello, Sandy. Hello, Bonnie. Okay. I did have something that hasn't been introduced that I wanted to show you, so you kind of be the first ones to see it. Now, I think I'll do that I'll make sure I quit a little bit early so I can show you that. Let me twist this. So the one thing I will show you, I can't answer a lot of questions about them because I just took them out of the laboratory, is these are dried paint. And it's powder, so they're powdered paints. And I'll show 2 of them to you today and we can play with them. This is what they look like. So this one right here is iridescent electric blue, and you can sprinkle it like a powder. And that's what it looks like over black. So we'll play with it a little bit today. That's what it looks like over white when you sprinkle it. And then if you want to use it just as a regular color, that's what it looks like. So you kind of have your huge array of how you want to use this particular type. And we'll play with it a little bit today. I don't know a huge amount about it because I just took them off the out of the chemist's laboratory. So I have to bring those back. All right. So why don't we start? I'm going to look at your questions as you ask them. So we're going to look at one of the colors that is very popular, which is the Aussie red gold. Another is the Tiger's Eye Genuine. Bloodstone Genuine. I really like the Bloodstone. Bronzite. Burgundy Yellow Ochre. And Buff Titanium. So this is going to be the Aussie red gold. It's a really pretty color. It's a very popular color. And so kind of what I wanted to show is that warm doesn't necessarily mean the brightest. It doesn't have to be the brightest to be warm according to CLAB. That might be a little bit different according to your eyes, however. So this is Bloodstone. You're going to see that it's going to have granulation because it's a Primatech. Actually, this is, I messed up. This is Tiger's Eye. This is going to be Bloodstone. I'll put Bloodstone right beside it. So Tiger's Eye, Bloodstone. So the Bloodstone will start to granulate quite a bit. This is Bronzite. Bronzite. Again, it's going to granulate as well. So in the laboratory, we play with a lot of things. And then we send it to sales to see what sales wants to do. The reason being is it's no longer, at one time, 10 years ago, well, actually about 15 years ago, I would just send it 25 feet away, 30 feet away from the laboratory, bring it into the store. So it was no big deal. But now we send it all over the world. So it's more complex. But I'm thinking by the end of the year, and I'll watch sales and see if sales frowns or smiles. But so the next one we're going to look at is going to be burgundy yellow ochre. Burgundy yellow ochre. And this one is the buff titanium. Buff titanium is quite popular. So right now, last time I looked, George was online and Raffaele was online. So if you've got questions from an art perspective, they are two phenomenal artists that can answer a lot of questions. This is buff titanium. So what we could do, glossy gold in here to do this. We'll try some of the so that's neutral tint. And you can use the neutral tint, kind of bring down the vibrancy if you want of a color. So I want to show, I'm going to play for a couple of seconds. That's using, to make it a little bit more opaque, that's using Chinese white. Versus this right here, which is Aussie red gold, Aussie red gold. Okay, so Control tint. So Raffaele or George, would you use the buff titanium for Caucasian flesh? Let's see if George is over here. I don't know the answer to that, but I can find that out. How about any of you that are on Zoom? Would you use it for Caucasian flesh, the buff titanium?
Hi, John. How are you? This is Claudia.
Hello, Claudia. How are you?
I do use the titanium white. For flesh tones, I use normally yellows.
Oh, awesome.
And a kind of yellow could be titanium white. I always use like a yellow and plus red or pink to do the flesh tone. So you can mix titanium white with any pink or red that you want. For example, quinacridone magenta or quinacridone red. With buff titanium, you can use it for a flesh tone.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So that was Claudia. And then Anna Marie says to everyone, no, I would use a mix, a transparent blue, yellow, and red. So great. Thank you for giving input. Okay. So we're going to try hematite genuine. Indian yellow. Isoindoline yellow. The reason it has a weird name, single pigments are named by giving credit to the creator of it. This is Italian Venetian red. So Judy, one new blue that people are talking about is the yttrium, which is this right here. This is what it looks like. There might be another blue, but this is probably the newest one, even though it's several years old. It's from Oregon. I'm gonna put it right here. So let me see. Try to get a word out here. Per pound, I think it's roughly $500 a pound just for the pigment. It's a super expensive. It's a super expensive pigment as they go, compared to, for example, French ultramarine, which is about $9 a kilo. This is $400 a pound. So this is about the newest one there is, which is the Ytterman out of Oregon. Okay, this is.
Excuse me, is that because it's so hard to mine it? Or is it because it's in so short supply?
It's because it's actually not mined. It's a good question. It's not mined. It's a synthetic. It was made by accident. It has super great heat resistance. It's just because they make it in such small quantity. And when you have a lot of labor and overhead, like a university going into a very small quantity, it ends up increasing the price. So it hasn't been on the market for that long. Someone asked me not too long ago, what's one of the newest pigments that have come out? And this is one of the newest pigments. It took about less than 16 years, which is really fast, how fast it came out to market. It got approval. And it's been out for the artist market for it's about 2 years that it's been out and available for the artistic market.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So that's the hematite. And then we're going to do the Indian yellow. The history of the Indian yellow used to be mango leaves. I believe it was mango leaves fed to cows. And I won't go over the rest of the process. You might want to read it. That's not the way it's done. It hasn't been done for many decades. This is going to be the iso-indolin yellow. It's a pretty yellow. It's almost what I would call, when I look at it, it's almost like a school bus yellow. Iso-indolin yellow. And this is Italian Venetian red. Letizia, Giovanni, that are normally on the website or on the web are all in Fabriano, Italy, and they're having difficulties with their web connection. And Angela as well, Angela Barbie. So this is the Italian Venetian red, iso-indolin yellow, Indian yellow, hematite genuine, and this is just the Ytterman, which is the newest blue out of Portland. Actually, I'm giving Portland credit. It's out of Oregon. Is the university? I think it's Oregon State University. That's where it comes from. It's actually great to hear your voice when you're asking questions. It's comes across here, comes across, you come across really well. And for any of you that are curious about the Zoom, because I know I've had a couple ask, well, what if I don't want to have a video or you don't have to, you could put a static image. I don't know how you do it, but I know you do it because I see several of you have static images. So yeah. If you want me to list these colors, absolutely. I'm glad to do it. When we're all done. Yes, I will post all the. If you're asking me the colors I'm using here, we're glad to do it. Certainly. I'll stop a little earlier with showing the colors today because I want to show you those powdered pigments, those powdered watercolors.
John, I had a question.
Yes.
Which of these colors come in pans?
Which of the colors do?
Mm-hmm.
I can send that to you. It's on the color chart, and the color chart now is also online, so you can look at the same color chart online. I can have that posted, but I can send you the link as well to say which ones are in pans, if you like. I'm glad
Thank
to do
you.
that. You're very welcome. My pleasure. Good to see you, Gabriel.
Good to be seen.
Okay. So this one's kind of interesting. I think most people would say, "What? Really? Lunar black?" And if you plot the lunar black, it actually is one of the warmest.
John, I have here like a chart, what I use to do the flesh tones. Can I
Yes.
explain it?
Yes, that'd be great.
Okay, so for a flesh tone, I usually use yellow, any kind of yellow. It can be quinacridone gold, it can be Aussie red gold, it can be raw sienna, yellow ochre, any kind of yellow. And then I use a warm red and a cool red. For the parts that are closer to us, I use the warm red. And this red can be changed by any warm red. It can be any of these reds or any, and for the skin tone, if it's dark or light, you can make it darker or lighter. And for the parts that are far from us, like the eyes or I don't know, the parts behind the nose, I use a cool red. So it can be, in this example, Mayan red or any of any cool red. And then for the shadows, you can use blues, purples, blue, any kind of blues, from cobalt teal blue to French ultramarine or Indantron blue or any kind of blue. Or you can use greens. It can be a dark green or a light green, depending on the tone and on the shadows do you want to use. That's like my main theory to make skin tones. I don't know if you have any question, or this is just like one.
Thank you so much. That's really helpful.
So the other thing is Claudia
Okay.
will be on tomorrow, and she'll be showing the luminescence. If you haven't seen, she has several wonderful videos. And as you see here, she's really good at answering questions from an art perspective. So thank you, Claudia. Very nice of you.
You're welcome.
So we're going to look at lunar black, Mars yellow, CAD yellow medium, raw sienna light, watch the time here, French ochre, hands of yellow deep. I like the hands of yellow deep. Hands of yellow medium. Sienna. Which orange was that? CAD. Orange. See. So Gabriel, I think the information about the half pans has already been posted.
Thank you.
So lunar black. So lunar black, Mars black, it's the same thing. So kind of why this one's an interesting one, you might say, well, how can that be one of the warmest? The reason it could be one of the warmest, it's how much light is pushed back to the photospectrophotometer. And the chemists who are just perfectionists about everything they do, they're going to do this to a 1 to 10 ratio, 1 part paint to 10 parts distilled water before they present it to the photospectrophotometer. And if I do that, you're going to see, because of this characteristic that we've talked about many, many times, the pigment is going to move away from itself. It's one of the few single pigments that's all the same weight, size, and shape that actually granulates. And because it granulates, it's going to have a lot more white. And the white is going to push a lot more light to the photospectrophotometer, which is going to give it a higher light aspect. Okay. It's also where it sits on the X and Y axis that makes it warm. It's right on the line. It's right on the line, but it's still within that warmest category. Okay, the next one is, I got some of that black in there, darn it. See a little black because I have a dirty brush. This is Mars yellow. I'll show you what it looks like just because I got a little bit dirty with my lunar. Mars yellow. Here. This is a CAD red hue, and the hue just means it's not a CAD. It's 2 or more high performance pigments put together, which gives the same brightness, same opacity, but not a CAD. I moved away from raw CADs. Seems like Europe gives them a reprieve every year, and I just thought it best that my people not be making it or around it. So this is CAD yellow. See that brightness. I'm going to move over to a Da Vinci brush, I think. orangey. This is going to be raw sienna light. Yeah, the lunar black is a neat color. I mean, all the lunars are neat colors, but the lunar black in particular is very interesting, especially from a black that normally you'd think the black would overpower. So we've talked about many times the lamp black would be the darkest black. Ivory black would be a warm black because it has a yellow undertone to it. This is the French ochre. French ochre. Hello, Raffaele. This is the Hansa Yellow Deep. Hansa Yellow Deep. That's the Hansa Yellow Light. This is the raw sienna. Lunars are really super interesting. Those CADs just are really bright. Certainly not.
Can I ask you about the CADs?
Any of you can ask me any questions you like. Yes.
So are all Daniel Smith CADs now CAD hues?
That is correct. They're all CAD hues.
Great. Okay, thanks.
Welcome. We like these porcelain palettes. Oh, Giovanni. Glad your connection's better. So I'll show you Gamboge. Do that one real fast. So this is going to be some finish up on this. So this is New Gamboge. New Gamboge.
Have you reopened the Seattle store yet?
It opens in August. It opens this month. And I believe they're going to send out a letter to everyone at the end of this week, I believe, Susan.
I'm glad to hear that.
Are you in Seattle? Close to Seattle?
I'm in Shelton.
That's pretty close.
I come up to visit family quite a bit and I've missed the store being closed.
I think it's next week, but I'm not sure it's next week. I know they're down there cleaning everything madly. Yeah, they've been down there working hard, cleaning and sweeping, and it's been a year in mothballs.
I go in there with a list and come out with twice as much as I was expecting.
I think when you have a passion for, I do that with Home Depot when I go in and look for one tool and all of a sudden my shopping cart is full. And they always ask me the same question, did you find what you were looking for? And I always say, I found more than I was looking for. It's good to have the projects, I think. Okay, how are we doing now? That stuff. So after these, I think I'm going to stop so I can clean up this palette. We can play with some of those powdered paints.
If anyone else is interested, I just checked out your website and it says that you're going to reopen on August 25.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for doing that.
I'm just as curious.
This is that's very orange. So nickel azo yellow, perion orange. I said that correctly. I'm getting my colors here to swap into each other. This is permanent orange. Permanent orange. Yellow ochre. Permanent yellow, deep. This is Pompeii red. And this with a tiny bit of New Gamboge and slide it over into it. This Terra Escalano. So let's So here's where we started. Not this one, that's the blue. I just wanted to show you what the blue looked like. That's where we started. That's our second. That's our third. So those are the warm colors. And I'll go ahead and put a list of them. I'll write them all down and put a list if you want the list of them. Actually, what I'll just do is just take photos and post the photos online. I'm gonna get some fresh water and we can play with the powdered pigment or powdered paint. So you've asked me many times, this would definitely be the most concentrated of the paints. When we bring it out, it is, so that's green apatite. It is super concentrated. Right in here is what it would look coming out of the tube. So you can wet it down, but it's just pigment with gum arabic. It's super highly concentrated because there's no moisture at all. Very little moisture in the pans, less moisture in the sticks. So in terms of from highest to lowest amounts of water, it'd be the tubes because they're still wet. Then it would be the stick, then it would be the pan, and these would be the last. There's no moisture in these. So they're going to be really high concentration of pigment. But you can play with them. We'll do this in a second. Or you can just use them as an ordinary paint. So it's all how it's just a tool in your toolbox and how you want to use it. So I brought a couple. We'll just play with these two right here. Bring this down a little bit. I'm just spraying it with water. And this is the iridescent electric.
Is there going to be a certain tool you're going to use to apply it?
It'll be with almost like a salt or pepper shaker. We can actually do this at a
Oh,
farm,
great.
or you can pull the top off. That would just depend upon what you want to do.
Okay, great. I could see me just
I
glove.
I can see me doing the same thing right here. You're right. So, I mean, I'm going to put just probably a little bit too much, but you can do that. We'll play with it on black too. And you can either wet it before or after. And let's try it with do a brush here. You want to go back to just, put it into solution. So let's try it on, let's try the iridescent on black. I'm afraid I'm going to dump it too, but I'll just do that. Pick up how bright it is. It's really bright here in front of me. There we go. Somehow when I move away, the camera wants to dull it down. If I do this, there. Anyway, it's actually really super bright here in front of me. With the applicator, it's going to be more uniform. But there it is on black. And if we wanted to, it makes it's actually super bright. I block the light, it actually seems like it's brighter for some reason. Maybe like that. Maybe you see better that way. But you can put it into solution if you want to put it in solution, just like you would a paint. So let's try the Cascade Green. That's what I took. Hello, Caroline. So it's just how much you want to play with it. And if we wanted to, in any area that we wanted, we could just go ahead and bring that Cascade green into solution. And we get the same results that we do with the Cascade green. It's co-precipitated, so it would come apart and get those yellows and blues. Yes, Carolyn, these would be the same pigments that would be in the Cascade green in the tube, the Cascade green in the pan, or the Cascade green in the stick. So it's the same pigment. It's actually has the least amount of water. So it's going to be, very condensed. And then you can just, put as much water as you want. Right here, this would be what would be coming out of, say, for a tube. It's just really very, very concentrated. There we go. So this is what the chemist did. I took theirs too. This is from the chemist. And this is what it is for the electric blue, sprinkled on black, like we did here. Chemist did a better job than me. This is a same thing over white. And this is where she used it as you just would in normal. So you have some more options. Can you make pastels out of these pigments? Can you make them pastel, use them like a pastel? No, they're not pastel. Could you make them, by adding water, look like a pastel? Yes. There's the Cascade green. Again, you just gives different variation. You wouldn't want to make pastels out of these. They're water soluble. Yeah, the blue is probably one of the most popular blues. If we do that on the blue is one of the most popular blues. It's the electric blue. And, we could use a varnish to anchor it down if you wanted to. You could also, wet it out or wet out different areas of it if that's something you wanted to do. So just another option. Or you could use it just as you would out of the tube. That's what you wanted to do. No, really wouldn't be like a pastel or a pastel stick. Kathy. Okay, so I wanted to show that to you. Yes, these are actually these are a watercolor. So it's a watercolor in a powdered form, which means it's pigment and it's gum arabic. So it has the least amount of water than so in terms of wet to dry, the tubes are number one, then drier becomes the stick, then really dry becomes the pan, and then pretty close to zero water, zero, is this right here. So you kind of have, you know, it's just options. I really believe that as watercolors, you should have a lot of options in your toolbox if you choose. Again, it's your journey, and what you want to put in is always up to you. Just wanted to show them to you. So there we go. Yeah, I think Jean Haynes would love them. Yeah, she loves these bright colors. This was what we did with the neutral tint, if you're curious about that. Okay. So with that, thank you very much, Gabriel. Thank you for asking your questions. Belle, thank you for asking your questions. I appreciate it. Everybody else that asked, thank you. On the Facebook side, same. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Again, tomorrow, Claudia, who's been answering questions today, will be on tomorrow. She does wonderful, just really interesting work with the luminescence. So if you've ever had a question about how you'd use an iridescent, an interference, she's phenomenal at that. And she's great at answering questions. So with that, I want to say thank you to all of you. Thank you for everybody on Zoom. Thank you for everybody on Facebook. Claudia, thank you. Gabriel, Catherine, Agnes, thank you, everybody. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Oh, there you go. There's everybody. All right, bye-bye.